Our friends at RBN showed us this for the first time, and I just laughed at this to the point where I felt we had to feature this on our show. I had to show this to you guys. This is a quick segment, but this is Dave Portnoy on Fox News talking to Stuart Varney. Apparently, Barstool Sports, formerly a desirable job for Ivy League alumni, didn't really know that you needed a degree from Dartmouth to go and review pizza for Barstool Sports or whatever the hell they do. But Portnoy says he's not hiring kids from these colleges anymore because of the stances of their respective presidents. So here's Dave Portnoy on Fox News.
You will not hire anyone from Harvard, UPenn, or MIT until the school's deans step down. Has anyone from these schools applied to work with you?
Yeah, well, first of all, we already have Harvard grads, so they're grandfathered in. But in the Penn dean, President McGill, she stepped down. Yeah, a lot of people reached out, but I think it's not only me. I think a lot of leaders have to do it. It was disgusting what those deans and presidents did under oath. It makes no sense to me. I don't know how, if you can't condemn genocide, I don't care whether we're talking Jews, Muslims, any group of people, then you don't deserve to be, in a position of power. You got to get out.
Oh, is that right? Well, is that right? So if you condemn genocide, whether it's against Jews or Muslims or any group of people, if you can't condemn genocide against anyone, then you should get out. So what about the Israel supporters who work for you? Are you going to send out an email asking who here supports Israel? If so, please hand in your resignation by the end of the week, because Israel's actually committing the genocide right now. So anybody who works for you who supports Israel is actually complicit in an actual genocide that's unfolding in real time. Stuart Varney, who's interviewing you right now, he supports Israel. He supports genocide. So what does it say about you that you went on his TV show and are yucking it up with him? It's interesting that he said, anybody who supports genocide of anyone shouldn't be working here. Well, then maybe you ought to look into who supports Israel.
Yeah, well, that's his way of trying to evade accusations of racism or one-sidedness. But obviously, it is one-sided. Or yes, exactly. We've had people in the Israeli cabinet suggest dropping a nuclear bomb on Gaza. We've had them call them animals, high-ranking people. We've had leaked white papers openly stating that the long-term plan is to push them into the desert in Egypt, into refugee camps. There's a lot more evidence that Israel is waging a genocidal, illegal war against the Palestinians. So are you going to stop hiring Zionists? I'm sure he's got plenty of Zionists working there, given his disposition.
Sounds like it to me.
What about free speech? Does that come into this?
Yeah, listen, is Hitler allowed to say, I want to kill the Jews, I want to kill the Jews, I want to kill the Jews, right up till he kills the Jews? I would say no. That's what they're saying you can do in this country. There's a difference between free speech.
Right, that's all that caused the Third Reich. It was just because Hitler said stuff.
He kept saying it over and over again until he finally did it.
And then it happened. Yeah, there was no other factors at play that caused that.
It's not like he needed to accrue political power first, right? It's not like he needed a military in back of him. No, students who are holding free Palestine rallies, they need to be just as censored and just as policed as Hitler.
Free speech and hate.
Well, you know what? If you really want to draw a parallel, the Weimar Republic, which is something else Catherine Liu gets into, was overrun by virtue signaling PMCs who had a disdain for labor. Why don't you look at that parallel?
Yeah, you can check that out.
Free speech and hate speech, and when you're endangering people and causing harm, I think you got to put a stop to it. It's called common sense.
Okay, we always like to run through a whole gamut of subjects.
It's called common sense. Okay. All right. So once again, look, if that's how you feel, then just, be fair, be even-handed about it. Find out who supports Israel and say, look, you can say this and say this and say this, but when Israel actually does it, which they have done it and are continuing to do it, at that point, we have to shut you down. That's what he said. Well, Hitler can say, I want to kill the Jews over and over and over again. And then when he does it, do we look back and say we should have stopped him? Well, now you actually have a genocide going on right now. So if you're going to have this policy of total discrimination, by the way, nobody from any of these schools is welcome to work at my organization. They're not even going to ask them what they think or how they feel about it. Oh, no, you came from Harvard, MIT, or UPenn, you can't come.
Yeah, you think you don't have virulent Zionists in the Ivy League?
Yeah, right, exactly. Exactly.
I mean, you could pretty easily, I'm sure, recruit rabid Zionists from that group.
Exactly. It doesn't even make sense on its own sort of insane terms that now you're having a company-wide blacklist of people from these institutions because their president won't step down because they are making a distinction between speech and harassment, which he's obviously not capable of making there. And obviously he's not going to get called out for anything on Fox News. He's to a totally, sympathetic audience there. But it was Dave Portnoy who tried to get canceled. Remember, he went viral because he recorded a phone call from a reporter who tried to smear him, saying he was a problematic person. And so they tried to get advertisers to pull out of the events that he was putting on. And I said, good for him. You shouldn't destroy a guy with innuendo and sort of, vague accusations of problematic language and behavior. But now here he is, trying to cancel students for the crime of just going to the college whose presidents he doesn't like. This is just one more example. It's just amazing. The list of hypocrites who have exposed themselves for being such free speech hypocrites when it comes to this issue is just a mile long. You can't keep up with it. You can add him to the list. I'm sorry.
But what's really disgusting for me about a lot of this, and this comes up a lot around Elon, because Elon really wades into these culture wars as a matter of course. It's disgusting how we've been reduced to championing different billionaires. It's disgusting how they act as the avatars for the great debates of the age. Who gives a fuck what these people think? And it really, really disgusts me when people who consider themselves on the left get into hero worshiping these billionaires because they happen to like the position they take on a particular topic. You're a peasant. You have the mind of a peasant if you think that way. Oh, did you see what Lord Musk said? Right. Lord Musk stood up to Lord Bezos. Yay, Musk! That's what you are when you start ass licking on scumbags like Elon Musk. Like, yeah, is he better than a lot of his peers in the billionaire space? Sure, his wealth should not exist. There should not be billionaires. Nobody who considers themselves on the left has any business cheerleading Elon Musk. You want to say better Twitter be in his hands than Jack Dorsey's or someone like Zuckerberg? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. But there's this tendency to hero worship. And when you do that, you're a peasant. You're the peasant in feudalism who loves the local lord.
Please clap.